Let's see what it do.
Hello.
Good morning, Don Charles.
Good morning.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well on a sunny day like this.
Indeed.
Like everybody.
Most definitely. Thank you very much, Don Charles, for joining us at such short notice, man.
That's all right, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, Don, we're not going to take too much of your time, Don. You know, we've just seen the beautiful news of Daniel Dubois now becoming the IBF world champion, and you've landed a mega fight, Don. Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. God is great. I always say God is great and the universe is great.
Most definitely. So, Don, how's Daniel looking? How's the preparation started off so far? Because I know it's a bit, we still have a little bit of time, but how's the preparation going so far, Don?
Yeah, the preparation is going well. It's basically, as you know, Daniel's literally only just finished fighting Hrgovic. So there's a little bit of time. There's a little bit of time that we have to let his body recover, because he's gone from camp to camp, starting from the Usyk fight, which is like 12 months ago. And the young man has been literally camp after camp, 3 fights back to back. And then obviously the body needs to, irrespective of how young he is and the body's able to deal with it in terms of his recovery, we still have to be sensible and give him some time off. But he's the type of kid that, although we give him time off from boxing, but he's always on a day-to-day basis. He takes care of himself. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. And so he's always on fight weight, if you know what I mean. He doesn't pile on the weight. And he's a very disciplined individual, which helps. It's really a massive help for a coach, from a coach's perspective, that you don't have an athlete you have to remind how to be. He's a clean living individual. Credit to his upbringing. His father is very, very, very strict, just like a typical African, Caribbean, black family. How I was raised as a black man, I think we've lost that in our society, where that strict upbringing. But Daniel is of a person who was raised in my times. I'm in my 60s, so the upbringing he's currently having, his dad is still old school. If we can use the word old school in the way he's raised his children. So hence why they've turned out the way they've turned out. It's not an accident.
Yeah, man. Don, I was watching an interview with Daniel's dad on Seconds Out. I was very impressed. Very impressed. I even posted him on my WhatsApp because I said, this dad is a phenomenal father. Man's raised all these children and by himself as well.
I'm actually glad that because he doesn't actually, he doesn't do interviews, and I encouraged him to do that one. I said, you need to be heard. People need to hear you. And he's a character, and you can now see why Daniel's the way he is, and the children, because like I said, alluded to earlier on, he's a very disciplined individual himself. They always say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and that's a result, a product of what you're seeing in Daniel Dubois. It's not an accident. He was born that way. From day one, he knows wrong and right, which is what's missing from our society today. The kids don't know right or right because it begins at home. They say charity begins at home. The work that parents usually do at home no longer is there. It's very rare in the modern society, in the modern world that we live in. So that's what you're seeing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see, Don, because as we know, the not the greatest image of black fathers is presented by this British media. So to see a father like that, I think it should be more so celebrated.
But it's up to us. I'm one of, remember, like I said, I'm in my 60s in terms of my age. Yeah. I've been in this country for 49 years in the UK. I was born in Africa, came here when I was 14 years old, and I've seen how things have changed. What we have to do, this is what I promote, is that we have to stop blaming anyone
I
take
hear
it
that.
into our own hands and fix our homes. Till you fix your home, you can't fix other people. We have to look upon ourselves, look into ourselves. And the culture we had, whether you're from the Caribbean or African, that's been diluted with the way the society have gone. We're losing our culture. We need to take control into our hands how to raise our children to be better citizens. So, this is something I'm really feel passionately about because, like I said, having been in this country and grown up in this country, England have done a lot for me. I'm not a hypocrite. Yeah, I came here to study. With my parents brought me here we came the family to study. Like I've seen the changes over the years, and we really need to take a grip, get rid of black community, stop looking on anyone else or blaming anyone else. We have to recognize that this is our home. Yes, it's also a place. I've always looked upon it as a place of work, and that's what I do every day of my life that I've been in this country. I've studied and I work. I work every day. And
What did you study, Don? Just before you.
life.
I hear
I
that. So
studied
was
life.
it not
If I
sports
can,
based?
but basic education is nothing. I didn't study nuclear science, anything like that. I did basic studies, and I went to college. Good grades. My English literature scored very high. My father was his backing was or his background, should I say, is in banking. My father worked for the biggest African bank, hence why the bank moved him over here to England in the early 70s to run a branch here in the city of London. Hence why we ended up here with the family. The bank brought us here, and then my father went back to Nigeria to continue running the head office in Lagos. I remained to further my education, and I'm the firstborn. I'm supposed to set example within my family, and my brother, who's my junior, became a lawyer. I got two doctors in my family. My little sisters became doctors. So I was being the firstborn in my culture in Africa. I'm the one who's supposed to be either a lawyer or a doctor. I became either. But I'm well read, but lo and behold, look what I ended up doing. Obviously, I'm really happy. This was a hobby of mine that turned out to be my profession.
Yeah, man. But it's nice though, Don. It's nice to see. I'm gonna tell you straight, Don. It's lovely to see a black brother at the highest level training another black brother at the highest level. It's beautiful to see. And just before you got on the stream, I was just saying to the stream that although I think Ben Davison is a great coach, look at the fights that you've had with Daniel, Usyk, you've had Ergovic and Jarrell Miller. AJ hasn't had those type of threats with Ben Davison. So I'm trying to say, look at where Daniel's career was going after Joyce. You've came in, and look what's going on now. It's one of the best rebuilding jobs I've ever seen. And now...
And we've just started. I agree with you. I've just started. But look, I'm not going to go into details today. I merely just came onto your show to introduce myself to your listeners. And we need my attention. Action speaks louder than words. My intentions is to go. It's all very well being in a position where I'm grateful to God, I'm grateful to the universe, but we need to capitalize and cement it. There's no point in just getting here and then I, for one, will not get carried away. It's my duty and my obligation to make sure we cement this position. It's temporary in the sense that we've won. Daniel's gone and won a world title, and that was always my ambition when I became a coach. I want to train a world champion. I've done that now. I've had many attempts. Okay, and finally, it's in God's time. When I wanted it, I'm a human being. I'm a God's child. God always has plans for all of us. Yeah, God said, not yet, not yet. I'm going to equip you with so much ammunition that when you get there, then you can facilitate and capacitate anything that's thrown at you. And that's where I believe me personally as a coach that I am in the position. But like I said, I'm a senior citizen. I'm not getting carried. I'm not a little boy. I've got a lot of experience in all aspects, not just boxing, all walks of life. So it's my duty, my obligation, having gotten here, need to recognize where we are and seize it and cement it and make it permanent rather than it's not a temporary thing. That's my duty. And that's where
this ain't temporary,
my
Don.
focus is.
I mean, you've already had 3 big boy fights already.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And to be honest, Don, I mean, even you've been a household name for years now, so this is most definitely being cemented. I mean, with that AJ win, that will be.
Well, absolutely. That's what I'm alluding to. We will go and we will be victorious if it's written, and I believe it is. Yeah, if it's written, and I truly believe it is, because no one foresaw that Daniel Dubois will be able to be maneuvered in the way his career has gone to be where he's now fighting AJ, a person that I'm very, very familiar with. That's a story for another day. A person whom I had a big input.
We got a question here, Don. Sorry to interrupt you. They said use the train AJ, so that they're asking what do you think. Asia, that's one of our patrons who's in here. Let me read the question word for word. Question for Don Charles. What does he think of Anthony Joshua, seeing as though he used to train him?
Well, what I think of the young man is a young man that stopped me in the street when he was 19 to ask for my help, and I obliged, and I helped him. I'm not going to expand on now. I'll leave it there. What I think of him, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him, what he's gone on and achieved. And when the chips are down, I usually send him a message or I call him, say, don't be upset, don't be down, because the day you stopped me in the street when you was age of 19 to ask for my help, if I told you then that the way God has written it for you, you're going to become who you went on to become and amass the wealth you're going to amass and achieve, what would you say? You said, Uncle, you're right. I said, don't you dare, because God will vex with you because you've achieved so much, right? And I'm proud of him. Unfortunately, I'm training a person, a young man in the name of Daniel Dubois, who's going to now fight him. But that's the way it's been written.
It was always going to happen, Don. It was always going to happen because, let's be honest, Frank was building Dubois for the AJ fight eventually, but I'm just glad the Saudis have come in and this fight is able.
Well, it's accelerated. It's accelerated in terms of the Saudis coming involved. His Excellency is referred to. It's accelerated the way things are happening now within the industry for the better, obviously, because otherwise these fights don't materialize. They take years and years to materialize. Sometimes they don't materialize. So, look, it's written. I always keep repeating, it's the way it's been written by God.
Definitely. So,
Indeed.
Here is come through, Noble, come through.
Well, but just on the back of that, are you happy now, Don, that the Saudis are involved, are in potentially increasing fighters' pay and creating the fights and maneuvering?
Noble, sorry, Don, he can't hear you. Noble, sorry, there's an issue. Don can't hear you on this line.
Okay.
Noble, type that question in the chat. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Continue, and I'll
no problem. Don Saint says, shout out to Don Charles. Thank you for joining. Question: can you share any specific training experiences with both fighters that highlight their unique strengths and weaknesses?
That would be telling. I'm not at liberty to disclose anything. I've merely come on here to be on your. No. You know, we try to see how far we can push it. Done. Well, so you can push me. You can try. Remember, I'm an older citizen, and anything you're going to ask me, I'm conditioned to answering questions. So, Ask me, don't ask me anything. I will answer you to the best of my ability, and there's only so much I will disclose. I won't. It's too premature to. The fight's just barely just been announced, so it's time to